All right.
Did you hit record already?
Yep. Audio recording, video.
I guess I should be going. I want to make sure that it's recording, but I hit the button. It should be.
I mean,
Let me go double
let's
check.
go check.
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could take all this stuff out of the editing.
Yep. It's good. It's going.
All right. All right. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Take one. Today is April 10th, 2024. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the Get Busy podcast. Your boy B Jones.
Buck. Ishaq Assad.
Ishaq, aka Izzy. You know what I'm saying? We up in here, man, at the house. First day, first time doing our pod.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? How you feeling, man?
Feeling great, man. Feeling good. Feeling great.
That's what's up.
A little excited about this. Let's get it cracking.
Let's get it cracking, man. Go ahead.
So, I guess first things first. Welcome, like you said, to the Get Busy podcast. The idea of what we got going on today. Well, let me just speak for myself. One of the reasons why I'm excited about doing it is because I have a real push on my heart to kind of give back a little bit, to engage the community a little bit more than I have been.
Mm-hmm.
And just to have a space to be honest and to be real about what's going on in my life and in the lives of others.
Word.
Yeah, man.
That sounds good, bro.
Just a little a platform, because I feel like I'm not the only person. We're not the only people that's dealing with life the way that is happening in 2024.
Yeah, I agree. So we had this idea almost simultaneously, right? I was thinking about, I started a small group just for like some of our, friends, just be able to come together like once a month, just to talk about spiritual things, trying to go up to another level in our lives, our individual lives, and, keep each other accountable. So we got a good, maybe about 5 to 7 people to come through in the small group. And from that small group, I got this idea. I was like, yo, be dope if we did a podcast. Who would I do that with? There's only one name that I was thinking of. You know what I'm saying? My boy Izzy. So, and then you was thinking the same thing. We didn't even tell each other until that one phone call we had. We're like, hey, you know what? I think I brought it up first.
Yeah, you were talking about it, and like you were talking about thinking about doing a podcast, but the thing that was so crazy was you sent me a video that gave me all the confirmation that I needed, because I've been hearing about it. And I told you your mom was the first person that spoke to me about like, hey, you need to get behind the camera or get your voice out there, And this was years and years ago, and I've been kind of battling with it, being a little camera shy. What up, everybody? And but it's crazy because I'll have that feeling behind the camera, but if I get in front of like 100 people, I don't have any problems talking to them. But
That's funny.
so I was, headed, like I told you, man, heading to Carolina to my family's 99th church anniversary, and listening to that video and talking about a realignment with my assignment. And this guy was saying that basically once he decided to stop chasing after the things for his own business and to do his videos for the glory of God, it just like a light bulb went off in my head. And like, this is what you need to be doing. And I immediately thought about your mom telling me this back when I was like 14 years old.
Man, give it up for moms one time. You know what I'm saying?
So
prophetic word.
Hey, for real, man. And then so I've been dealing with that. And then when you called that day to say that that's what you were thinking about, I was like, yo, I was literally about to call you and tell you that, like, man, your mom is, the one that spoke it originally. And that's what I'm trying to do next. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, all right, well, it's no such thing as coincidence, bro.
Yeah.
It's confirmation over coincidence.
Hey, shout out to Alexis Jones, my mom.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Been in my life since forever. Been in Izzy life since middle school. So
yeah,
where we met, 8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah. So that's good stuff, man. So yeah, so basically we just wanted to, we're both in our still early 40s.
Early 40s.
But we're still trying to figure out life. We haven't quite arrived, and
Right.
we've both had different paths to get to where we are now. So I feel like, we have a lot of relatable life experience, and just trying to live for God and raise kids, be married, you know what I'm saying, pay taxes, all that. You know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. Like,
Word.
we want, be able to have a podcast where we can, shed a little bit of wisdom, just talk about our struggles, talk about things that are relatable to people, and the trajectory to where we're going, and also just really talk about just like things that are going on, current events, through like a Christian worldview, you know what I'm saying, and just looking at things and just trying to just figure it out. And I think there's a lot of people out there just trying to figure stuff out. So that's why we started this pod, man. So
trying to tackle those topics that you just mentioned, the struggles in life, the current events, but trying to tackle it with the right mindset, with the right perspective. That's one thing you mentioned a second ago, like still trying to figure it out. But I think the one thing that for both of us, especially for yourself, that we got along the way and have in spades is the character part. There's a lot of people that chase after the dollars, and they become financially successful, right? But then they forget about the character part. That's going to be what ultimately holds the family unit together, that ultimately makes them the better people in life, and I feel like that's where you and I kind of have a nice little foothold, as far as just the quality of person, you know what I'm saying? Not to like toot horns or brag, but that's very, very important. And so trying to bring that Christian perspective and the idea of how to go about things in the right way, as opposed to just the world's way.
Yeah, that's real. Good stuff, man. All right, so where you want to start? What we talking about?
Man, well, I guess like I was saying a second ago, man, kind of off the top, we've actually got a lot of stuff to talk about, but this is something that was on my heart today because my daughter, just to be transparent, I've got 4 kids, 3 different women. I'm married now, and my youngest daughter is 3 years old, and that's with my wife, Nadia, beautiful wife. Hey, baby. And but my oldest daughter, Anaya, lives at home with her mom and her mom's sister and her mom's husband. And threw away all her Harry Potter books a while ago. And that's something that she's still kind of struggling with, trying to figure out, is it necessarily right for that to happen? And she's okay with it. Like, she didn't really argue back or anything along those lines, but she still has an imagination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She still identifies with those type of things, with fantasy elements and movies and TV shows and, things like that, which is something I think is very difficult for grown folks, not to mention for kids, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To kind of be forced into that avenue. And so trying to replace it with other things and trying to show her other paths. And, there's a lot of Christian authors and there's a lot of different types of stuff. But once when your friends at school are talking about this, that, or the third, and everybody else in the world knows about it, and you already have interest towards it,
Yeah.
So, so what do you think about that? Like, what is the line, especially for a kid, growing up, where is it okay for the imagination and for the, being in the world, but not being of the world? Like, what does that line look like?
I like this because you didn't prep me at all with these questions, so I'm getting these right off. These answers are gonna come right off the cuff. So, like growing up and listening to different men of God, women of God, and ministers and pastors, and just within our church community, you're gonna have differences of opinions, and some people lean more toward this side on certain issues, some lean toward the other. So I'll say this, man, like when it comes to the media and the things that are coming into our kids' lives, like I think that we do have to be really careful. I'm not as super, super conservative in that area. You know, if I feel like the kids are watching something that's going to alter their thinking and their lifestyle choices to something that's negative in my eyes, then that's definitely going to be a no-go. You know what I'm saying? So I've never really watched a Harry Potter. I've seen maybe like movie clips at best and heard people talk about it. Yeah, you know, so I guess I kind of compare it to like Lord of the Rings stuff, something like that, which, you know, fantasy type stuff. I'm for the most part cool with dragons and whatever, you know what I'm saying, and swords and wars and sorcery. So I think if you're raising your kid, if you're just letting the TV and the computer raise your kid, that's going to be a problem.
Correct.
If you're putting things into your child that you want them to have, that's going to help them have a perspective. So like, you know, if you're putting godly things and showing them, like, as long as they know like what's in the word and they're growing in their relationship with God and they're seeing you grow in it.
Yes.
Then there's certain things that you can watch and it's not going to affect them the same way as if you're not giving them the word or you're not giving them, you know, godly influence. When you're not doing those things, then they're going to be filling that void with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right.
So if you're looking at something and you're, you know, like I said, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, it's, you know, it's fantasy based, and you're talking to your kids about that, like, yo, this is just fantasy, and but they know like, okay, this is entertainment, but you know, in the Bible, like I was reading today in Exodus when Moses was trying to free the Israelites from Pharaoh, you know, God sent him with the staff to turn into the snake and turn the river into blood and turn the frogs, you know, frogs come out the river and gnats and stuff. And so the Pharaoh had his own magicians and they were able to duplicate some of those things. Right. So there are really real powers that go on in this world, good and evil. You know, the weird thing about that story that I was reading, like, okay, so Moses like made the frogs come out the river. So the frogs were like everywhere,
right,
and attacking people. Right. Then the sorcerers, to prove that they had power, they just did the same thing. They made frogs come out. And it's like, why would you just add more frogs to the situation? That's really, I know I'm kind of getting off topic. That's just really weird. You know, so yeah, again, you know, it's certain things that are, you know, you're going to have to kind of watch and make sure it's not changing the values that you're trying to instill into your kid.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, I tell my kid, like, look, there's real, like God has real power and evil has real power. This is just a movie. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see a struggle of like good and bad in both movies, but it's just a movie. You can relate it to stuff that happens in the real world. But so as long as you give your kid, you know, able to train them to look at things through a Christian worldview and know what's, you know, what to stay away from and what's like, you know, okay. And that's going to really differ depending on your household. Yeah. Everybody got different rules. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of what my thought process was. It's like instilling them the proper perspective, you know what I'm saying? Or at least try to. It's their perspective, but you got an ability to kind of shape or to put the proper lens over the way that they look at things, you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we're talking about by what it is that you're instilling in them, putting in them. Allow them to think kind of critically when you can have discussions about it. I think that's more important than anything else is actually, it's not just, like you said, not just letting them watch whatever, hear whatever, listen to whatever, but being able to talk to them about what it is that they're watching. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And especially as they start to get older, even as they're younger, right? But I think it's more important as their minds are able to handle more real conversations. I think it's necessary to have those conversations kind of more consistently with the stuff that they're consuming because it's everywhere, but it is unavoidable too. That's the other part of it. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, man, I'm going to high school next year. It's like, dang, man, what's up with this homeschool? You about to
have a high schooler, bro. Dang.
Shotguns are ready.
Oh man, I heard that. That's wild.
But yeah, so I think about that, man. And on a side note, man, there's so much in the Bible that if the media that we consume wasn't run by the devil, there's so many stories that could be so tremendous and like so absolutely gangster that's out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can make top tier movies, you know, like across the board with some of these stories.
Yeah.
And it would encompass all of the elements of anything that anybody would ever want to see. Fantasy, you know, powers and all sorts of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Love dramas, you know, action packed, like all these concepts and ideas that all the genres that we look at.
Yeah.
Everything's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But you got to be kind of careful with that too, though, because those creative liberties, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do. You do.
But anyway, I just thought about that. Because I think they came out with that movie a couple of years ago called Noah. Did you ever see that?
I did.
What'd you think about that?
So, okay, so before that movie came out, I always like wanted to see like a biblical based movie, but done with like a real Hollywood budget, real special effects. I'm like, man, that'd be really dope. Because all before that, it was what the Ten Commandments, Charlton Heston. You know,
It's 1970 something, 60 something.
Yeah, you go back and look at those graphics and those. I was like, oh yeah, this is bad.
Yeah,
it was dope back in the day. I'm
sure. It was cool when it came out. You know what I'm saying? But
I was like, man, they should do something like, you know what I'm saying, like with the modern technology. And then Noah came out, so I was really excited to see it. And I thought, for the most part, I thought it was a pretty dope movie. So I think they took some liberties. From what I remember, because that was a long time ago, like when Noah was building the ark, and that was played by
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Shout out to Russell Crowe, Gladiator, you know what I'm saying, a couple of other dope movies he did. But so when he was building the ark, like he was getting help from like these rock monsters or something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not in the Bible. Like, what's, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was kind of like, I didn't know how to feel about that. But at the same time, I was still glad that the movie got made because I felt like it was bringing more popularity to the Word of God. But, and you know what I'm saying? And I don't remember really off top, like anything else that they kind of changed or added. Realize now that could actually be kind of dangerous too. You know what I'm saying? When you start like changing, I understand like, you know, if you do like they put a movie together about somebody's life, right? Like the Blind Side. You know, Hollywood adds certain things to make it entertaining, make the story run, you know, didn't necessarily happen. So I get that part. But when it comes to the Word of God, like I think that movie might have maybe pushed people to look at the Bible, even like the parts that weren't in the Bible. It started a conversation, so people like got into their word to like, yo, let me verify.
Right.
How did this really happen? How did the Bible say it happened? So I thought I thought more good came out of it than bad, because like, you know, adding those little rock creatures to help them build, it didn't necessarily change like who God is so much, but it was something they added that wasn't there. So that was kind of, you know, that kind of sucked. But overall, like the movie was entertaining. It was cool.
That's how I felt about it. I don't really remember it quite as well as I need to, I guess. But like, I think you hit it on the head though, man. It was a conversation starter. And so like there were people that were up in arms about it. You know, that's, you know, always, you know, taking, you know, what was the Bible says out of context and da. But if it starts that conversation, then I think that's a good thing. If it brings any level of attention to the word, because the word itself is the truth, right?
For sure.
That's going to be there. That's the standard. And so something that's going to point in that direction, you know, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, it gives you opportunity to kind of look at it. You know what I'm saying? For somebody that might not have looked at it at all.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. But I watching it though, I didn't really feel bad about it. I was like, this was actually pretty cool. You know, like you said, like, you know, like the little monsters. But I know that there was also, you know, I know there were giants back in the day, the Nephilim and all the different, you know, things. I'm not 100% sure what all of them are. You know what I'm saying? But so, you know, I didn't really have a problem then watching it. Maybe watching it now, because this is like 10 or 12 or 15 years ago or someone that came out.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite where I am right now, but
yeah,
so
we're different. We're different people.
Yeah, you know, going back and watching it again, I might, but
I would like to see some more Bible-based movies and just kind of, you know, I don't mind filling in the gaps because it's not going to, you know what I'm saying? You got to kind of like tell the story and make it flow, whatever, as long as it doesn't take away from like what the scripture is really saying. But like, I love, you know, see more Bible-based movies.
Yeah, man. As an introduction though, to this podcast and to what it is that we have going forward, I just want to say thank you for this platform, for this opportunity, you know, for this setup. It looks quite official. You know what I mean?
It does, man. I don't know if we got it all on camera, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I get all the equipment and everything, you know, we'll do like a little mini tour.
Absolutely.
Like some of the big podcasters do one day.
Absolutely.
I got to get the rest of this room looking kind of more manly though. This was like the old, so this used to be, okay, so we first moved into this house, like this was the media room, right? When you go look at the house, it's like, oh, this is the media room, whatever, or bonus room, whatever you want to call it. This ended up like just really housing all of our crap. There's just stuff, you couldn't even walk in here. It was just, for years, it was just like a whole bunch of boxes and just extra junk up here. We never used the room because there's no room. And so one day I was like, I'm about to clean this room out. So I cleaned it out, built like a little closet right there. And now you got an extra bedroom. So it went from like a 4-bedroom, because we took a bedroom away in the other part of the house and then added this closet, which officially makes it a bedroom.
Because it got the closet, yeah.
Closet and a window and a door, right? So then it became the sewing room because my wife, she, you know, got a sewing machine. She used to sew a lot. And then she got a bunch of fabric in the storage or whatever. But she didn't really sew that much here, except for every now and then. And then the kids were like doing all the painting and coloring. And so it was the art room. And then I think the kids like spilled paint on the carpet. And when Xanta, my wife, had to clean it up, she banned them from painting in this room. Because this is the only room in the house that has carpet, right? So after she cleaned it, she's like, I'm not doing that again. Y'all can't paint up here no more. You got to paint somewhere else. So they quit painting up here. They paint other parts of the house now. And so, you know, when I made this into the studio, everybody else still calls it the art room. It's like, y'all not really doing art up here. This is the studio now. So
I mean, it's a type of art.
There you go. Visual arts. So slowly I'm going to start like changing stuff. I can't do it all at once because then my wife will get, I probably shouldn't say, I might edit this out so she doesn't know what my plan is, but I'm going to be having, yeah, I was going to keep buying stuff and just putting it places and putting her other stuff in storage or in other parts of the house, but slowly so she doesn't notice.
Until one day.
Months later. Full-fledged studio.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what else you got on the docket? It's on your phone, which we're using as a camera. Oh, first day blunders.
Hey. So I need to bring a laptop too.
You need to bring a laptop.
Okay.
Or a piece of paper or something.
Yeah, keep it going. All right.
It's all good. So I'll tell you what, we'll go back to parenting. So, you know, I got 4 kids. We both got the same amount of kids. One woman pushed out all 4 kids. I don't know why y'all do that. So when she had my eldest child, Malia, I've never seen somebody in so much pain to, you know, pushing a baby out. And I felt super helpless, right? Because there's nothing I can do
at all.
You know, Malia, she ended up being in C-section, but like, how do you do all that screaming to decide, yeah, let's do this again. Let's have another kid. I'm like, what? You okay? And I got JoJo, my boy.
Yep.
I'm like, got a girl, got a boy. Like, yo, we're the perfect family now. We're good. We don't have to keep going because you pushed him out all the way. No C-section, like, and
which timeout is actually kind of remarkable because Anaya was a C-section and Milas was a C-section and Naomi was a C-section. But each time the doctors say that with the C-section, you're a lot more likely to continue to have to get C-sections.
Really?
Yeah, like, so I don't know what the science is behind that, but if you have a C-section once, it's more likely that you'll have to have a C-section again. So shout out to Xanta for, you know what I'm saying? And praise God that, you know what I mean, he healed her body in a way that allowed her to be able to do that.
Yeah, she soldiered up, man.
That's intense.
Yeah, it was loud and very intense. And she was like, let's do this again. I'm like, oh. Well, I'm not even doing the heavy lifting. Because it's not even just the labor part, but like
the pregnancy.
Yeah, the whole pregnancy.
It's like 10 months. People say 9 months, man. It's like 40 weeks.
Yeah. It's all a blur to me, but I just remember it all sucked. It's just a lot of discomfort on her part. And
yeah,
just,
man.
You know, me having to do more stuff around the house. So
I've always heard, and even the wife said this, that like that the Lord takes the memory, like she said that she remembers, you know, and I've heard other women say this before, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I just don't get it. That you know, because you understand that there was pain involved, but like you don't really. It's like it's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't think about it. You know, you just think about the beauty of the process or something. I don't.
I've always admired that about women. Like, if men had to have babies, none of us would be here.
Yeah, we would have been extinct a long time ago.
Yeah, like, why? Why do you want to?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's salute to all the.
Salute, yeah, absolutely.
All
because
the women who've pushed out children.
All the mothers out there, man. That's it's too real.
That's super real. It don't get no realer than that.
It doesn't. And you know, as the fathers, right? You know, just to try to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But realize that there's not much, especially in the birth giving process. But even like the process of being while they're pregnant, you know what I'm saying? Feet are swollen, and you know, maybe you might have the nausea or whatever. You know, all these different things that like you really can't do anything about to help. You know what I'm saying? You could try to help out a little bit. I'll cook more. I'll clean more. I'll rub your feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But you can't really do a whole lot more. So it's like a really.
Hey, man! Shout out to Eve, first woman eating that fruit, making childbirth suck for everybody.
Hey, man.
That's our podcast.
Yeah, I'm about to say you asked them to get canceled already.
I'm blaming Eve for everything. That's cool. We need the comments. So I'm sorry. We need the publicity any kind we can get. Yeah. Good stuff.
But no, that's real.
Yeah, man. So my daughter is playing at a friend's house 2 doors down. And for a while, there's people that we kind of see in passing, say what's up to, had a conversation with when they first moved in, but it's like a lot of cars kind of like in and out.
Oh, their house?
Yeah. Nothing like suspicious or crazy, but just like, it seemed like a lot of people over there. So it was, I didn't think much of it, but like the little girl that Chrisette plays with, they would play outside together, and then eventually they got friendlier, and eventually the little girl wanted to come play in our house. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's cool. Just, go ask your mama. See, that's cool. Because I talked to the mom a few times, and they was like, yeah, that's cool. So she come in and she asked if Chrisette can go over there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah. I felt kind of bad. Like, yeah, you come over here because we're safe, but I don't really trust y'all. I really just didn't. It's just too many.
Hey,
I don't know who all is in that household right now. Okay, so listen. I don't want to hear no story like 15 years from now.
No,
you know what I mean?
Right? Nope.
My daughter's like, "Hey, this thing happened." Like, yeah, and I'm an owner of a firearm, so I don't want that.
Nah, bro. And I mean, that's the right thing. If it was something where like, if Xanta, you know, were kicking it with her or something like that, or going over regularly and seeing what it was.
Yeah.
But man, you don't listen, there's only one job, and that's to protect your household. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
And to raise, to protect, and to provide for your household, man. And like, you can't do that from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So
and look, oh, I'm sorry.
So fast forward.
Yeah.
The cars come in and out. It got a little more tame.
Okay.
And I kind of got to know like the grandmother over there,
Mm-hmm.
and then the aunt. So it was like the mom, her 2 kids.
Okay.
Right. She got a son, older son, a little bit older than JoJo, or a little bit older than Malia, I think. And then the daughter, who's maybe like a year or 2 younger than Chrisette. It's probably in between Chrisette and Genesis or whatever, right?
Okay.
So I kind of got to know everybody over there. Then she kept asking, "Hey, can we?" You know, I was like, one day I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." You know what I'm saying? Because it got to the point where I felt comfortable with her going over there, and she's been over there plenty of times, and it's always been cool. So yesterday she was playing over there, and it was time to eat dinner. So I sent JoJo over to go get her,
Mm-hmm.
and then JoJo comes back in the house, and then Chrisette comes back in crying, like crying.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just like, and my kids cry all the time, right? So my first instinct was like, what is it now? I thought like JoJo said something to her or whatever. I ain't know, but she was crying. So me and Xanta went to the classroom where she was, and we're like, what's wrong? And she's crying so much she can't even talk. So I'm starting to kind of get worried. I'm like, okay, what happened? Because you just came from her house. Why you never, this never happened before. And so she was saying like, and we were trying to make out what she was saying, but she was saying like the little girl's auntie yelled at her. So I'm just like, wait, what?
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, what happened? And she was like, she said the F word. I'm like, so in my head now, like, oh, so somebody just cussed at my daughter?
Right.
And got her scared and crying? I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to make sure I get the full story, as much information from Chrisette as I can.
As you can, yeah.
Right? So come to find out, the auntie was like, she was like moving something heavy, like either up the stairs or down the stairs. And her and the little girl were both in the house playing, and was like, got in the way.
Yes.
And so the auntie got mad, and I guess dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Maybe like get out the way.
Yeah.
Something
She's
like
struggling with something, you know what I mean? Kids running in between.
So we're trying to console Chrisette. It's like, hey, she shouldn't have said that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're trying to calm her down, and we're about to eat dinner, so kind of talking. I'm just like, after a while, I'm just like, no, I got to go over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to handle this now. So I walked over. The grandmother came to the door, and I saw like the mother was kind of like back on the steps, and the little girl was there. And I told him, like, hey, Chrisette came home crying. She said,
The
auntie would like yelled at her and cussed at her. And she said, and really she said she yelled at both of them. Chrisette said she yelled at both of them.
Right.
And so they were saying, no, she didn't cuss. She did yell, but she didn't cuss. And she was yelling at the other girl, at her niece, not at Chrisette. So I'm like, I know Chrisette wasn't lying about the F.
Why would she make that up? You know what I mean?
Right. She's not at that age or has that, where she's trying
capacity to really.
Right.
Yeah.
She's trying to get somebody in trouble. Like, oh, they said the F word. Go get him. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't doing that. Right. She was just scared. So, and look, everybody yells at I yell at my kids. Like, everybody yells at their kids. Nobody wants to admit that they cuss at their kids, though. That's not something that people normally would want other people outside your household to know. So I put that together real quick. Like, okay, they just didn't want me to know. Okay, cool. So, we talked, we were talking back and forth and whatever. And they were like, no, Chrisette didn't do anything wrong. It was a little girl. It was her daughter that did, got in the way. It was like crawling between her legs, trying to carry something heavy. And Chrisette just happened to be there. So Chrisette thought she was talking to both of them, but she's really just talking to the girl that lived there. So I was like, all right. So I walked back to the house. By this time, Chrisette had calmed down. We're eating dinner. The doorbell rings. So I go back. And it's the auntie.
Okay.
She came to the door. She was like, hey, I just want to apologize. Like, she was telling me, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I wasn't yelling at Chrisette. Like, it was my niece.
Right.
And then Chrisette just happened to come around the corner. So that's probably why she thought, like, I was yelling at her too, but I wasn't. Like, she didn't do anything. It was just my niece because she's real mischievous and she does stuff. And we,
Yeah.
and whatever. So, and she wanted Chrisette to come to the door so she can apologize to her. I was like, all right. So I brought Chrisette and she apologized. And the apology was sincere.
Yeah.
She was really, because she really felt bad at Chrisette.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they knew. I think Chrisette like just kind of ran out the house. So I don't think they knew. And so she apologized and Chrisette seemed to feel better. Mm-hmm. And so when I talked to Xanta later on that night, it was like, she don't want her going back over there. So I'm kind of like, Xanta's a little bit more like cautious and protective in that way. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit more give grace and let's talk it out. But I'm also the one that'll come over to your house if you try to harm my kid.
Yeah, 100%,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but Xanta's issue was like she don't want her around people like that's like cussing in the house like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it was the yelling part because we all yell.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think I've ever cussed at my kids.
Yeah.
I will admit I've cussed like to myself, like under my breath, like when I'm really mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to work on that, but I never like just like.
No, yeah. That's one thing I can say I haven't done either.
Cuss my kid out. So
at all, actually.
So yeah. So and then Chrisette, she's still kind of nervous because like the little girl came over today, like, you want to come over my house? And Chrisette was like, yeah, I don't want to come over your house. You know what I'm saying? So she's still kind of like shaking up from that. But then I told the little girl, hey, she can't come over there anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, but y'all can play outside or you can come in our house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
This is one of those things. It's like, it's unfortunate that it happened.
Yeah. But I do have appreciation for the fact that like, that the aunt came back over and, I mean, because ultimately that's what you really want in general. You know what I'm saying? Is for a person to take some level of accountability for what they did. Yeah. So that's good, but I definitely understand that protection aspect.
Absolutely.
And especially, because for however much longer, the two of you will be here, however long you'll be here, however long they'll be there, if you're trying to keep them from that type of environment, she's going to hear stuff, regardless, right? It's going to happen, you know what I'm saying? But you don't have to be living it. You know
my first thought, she said, when Chrisette was like, she said the F word. I was like, how do you know what the F word is? Like, where did you know what I'm saying? It's like, but this stuff they're going to hear.
It's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. So, but it was funny. That was my first thought when she said that. Mm-hmm. And she's 8 years old. So, it is. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So shout out to good parenting, man, because, and not, but man, at 8 years old, I think about the mischievousness that I was in and about, just on the slide, stuff that my mom had no idea, you know what I mean? But from influences like cousins and stuff.
The camera's right there if you want to tell
we already had these conversations.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, this can be a confessional too. It's just therapy.
I just think about it, you know what I mean? Like, just shout out.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happens though. Like, as these generations go on, the next generation has more information than the previous one. So we all can like keep doing better, and hopefully anyway, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, parenting's hard, bro. It's especially now, bro. Like, these kids there's so much more with the internet. It's wild out here. That's why we talked about
homeschooling,
man.
Bro.
And honestly, I don't want to do it. Like, that's a lot of work.
A lot.
And I'd much rather just put them in a nice school.
Right.
And just do whatever I'm doing during the day. But it's kind of like my neighbor.
Even then.
Yeah.
Because it's the students, right? So it's, and so Anaya, they're looking at moving right now. And there's this Christian school down where they're going. I have a tour coming up next week to go check it out. Lauren went to go see it. It's supposed to be really nice and everything. And the school she was at before, love it. It's a really good school.
Yeah.
And the school could be right and be doing the right thing. The curriculum could be right. The parents had the right intention, right? Sending them there. But man, the world is still the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the kids, it's really the kids and it's the access.
I've heard some wild things happen at some of these Christian schools, man.
Yeah, bro.
And I think like some of the parents who send their kids there, they just really, it's like they know they should raise their kids in God, but they're like, let me just send them to the Christian school, let somebody else do that. They don't really do that at home. And so you start hearing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And even a local Christian school down the road, heard they be teaching some crazy things that are not biblical at all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you just never know, man. Like, you know, so yeah, you got to even send your kid to Christian school. You got to ask a lot of questions and make sure you know what's going on and pay attention to who your kid is hanging around.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, you know those changes in your children sometimes when they're at school, and you know, like my oldest, she's middle school right now, and I know she doesn't tell me everything. You know what I'm saying? But we try to, and it's like, you know, we didn't tell our parents everything, but like I wanted to be not the cool parent, but like the parent where it's like I don't fly off the handle for every little thing. So like I make an environment where like, yo, you could tell me like how you feeling or what's going on. And you try to do that and it's still like, then you find out like, yeah, the reality is she's still gonna keep some stuff from you.
And you know what? I try to do the same thing, man, like with Anaya. And I've even started to like tell Anaya some of the things that I dealt with, you know what I'm saying? And tried to be a little bit open so that she could feel like this is stuff that I never really told anybody before. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff that I dealt with. And so I'm telling you this so that you can know, you know, like we can have that kind of relationship where you can feel free to tell me about some of this, you know, it's a judgment-free zone. And I'm not going to, like you said, fly off the handle about it. Like, look, life, you know, but I'll just be there for you, you know, as a sounding board. And I think that's still good. But the reality of kids, man, is that I think it's just nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They
don't want to disappoint their parents.
Yeah.
They want to, you know, keep things to themselves. And they're trying to figure out life, you know? And like, it's hard for me to try to put myself back in that 13-year-old mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how would I respond? How would I have responded then? Like, because everything is now, and I'm thinking about things logically so much more than what I would have been doing at that time of life. But like, she got caught up lying. This is a couple of years ago. I'm like, why would you lie about that? Like, this was pointless. You know, it was something like
something stupid.
I mean, the dumbest thing. It was like eating a brownie or something. You know what I mean? I didn't do it. It's like, well, why would, like, what do we, like, why? You know what I mean? Didn't even make it. You weren't even gonna get in trouble for it. It was just like, it wasn't even a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just, no, I didn't. It's okay if you ate it. Just what I just remember that there was 4 of them. Like, it's 3 now. I'm the only other person that's here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't eat it.
Make sure we ain't got no rats up in his
right.
joint. You know
it's like, it's all good. She held on to it. I was like, man.
Yeah. That's just in nature, man. That's what we all came to the world with.
Yeah, bro. That's what it boils down to, man. You're right. Parenting is hard.
Knowing how to be stingy, knowing how to lie. And then, you know, thank God, you know, my kids are not great liars. Which I think most kids, like when they're starting out, they don't know how to do it. They just start it.
Bro. They just...
So I'm happy that you guys are. I try not to tell them how terrible liars they are because I don't want them like
to start getting more advanced.
I got to start getting good at this.
Yeah, and see that's where I made a mistake because I was showing Anaya how she was like, no, see you said this and then this and it.
Oh man, you
gave
her too much game.
Yep,
you gave her too much game. She was like, oh, I'm about to apply that.
I still feel like, you know, like I got a heads up, but I probably need to reel that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's also the most rewarding thing, though, man. Like, it is difficult, you know what I'm saying? But I think about now, you know, like now we got moms living with us, you know, and for as much as she did, you know, throughout my life to help, not only me, but to help, like, all of my brothers. Hassan came and lived with us when we were in high school. You know, Ali attributes my mom to the reason why she graduated high school. Muhammad came and lived with us, years at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to be able to you know, when she was like, oh, I need to go find another place and I'll probably go do this and go do that. It's like, nah, just come to the crib. Like, just, you know, come to the crib.
Yeah.
And, but to be able to do that, it felt good for me. But then she told me recently, like, you know, it's just been a blessing to be able to be here, you know, and just thank you for being able to be here, you know. So I think about, you know, when we get to that point later, you know, when our kids are grown and, you know, got their families and stuff like that, you know, what would that look like? And I think that's where, regardless of the relationships, I think it's good to be able to see as a parent, be able to see your kids, you know what I'm saying, doing the right things. And
Yeah.
so it's still interesting being at this like early stage, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I still like, you know, because my oldest is 12. So, you know, made a lot of mistakes, you know, like we all do, but it's like they still forgive pretty easy at this age. And so trying to be transparent with them and let them know, like, hey, if I make a mistake, I try to like own up to it. I haven't done it all the time, but I'm trying to get better with that, especially now since they're still so forgiving and
Yes.
you know what I mean? And I know like it only gets harder, like,
Bro.
you know, when they get, so here's something my neighbor told me. My neighbor, Brian and Lisa, shout out to Brian and Lisa. Hope you guys will catch our podcast, but
Shout out Brian and Lisa.
They homeschool all 5 of their kids.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when we moved here, the youngest one was the only one that was living here. Well-rounded kid, hold a really good conversation, really cool, man, great kid. He just recently got married. So, you know, watching them just grow up is really cool. I met all the siblings, like all their grandkids. When they come over, they play with our kids on the trampoline in the driveway. So it's really cool. But we sat with the daughters, and they told us about like how, you know, their experience was when they were homeschooled, and now they're homeschooling their young kids too. And so, they, you know, we've been talking to them, and I've been kind of like, I know it's a good idea, but I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I'm equipped to do it. And then this last conversation I had with Brian really kind of pushed me more toward it, like, because we're talking, he was taking me to like a small group at his church. His church did. And then on the way back, we were just talking about kids and talking about, you know, had some more like just homeschool questions. And I made this comment. It's like, yeah, man, when they get to be teenagers, you know, I know it's going to be, you know, they're going to be off the chain, whatever. And he was like, that's not true, man. Like, when you're raising your own kids and like the way we did it, and we don't have the world like putting their influence on them, like they don't have to go through like that
Pressure.
that stereotypical like teenage, like they start rebelling and acting crazy and dressing, you know what I'm saying, doing secrets and all that kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't have to go that way. So we didn't, you know, like that, not that everything went perfect over there, but like they didn't have to go through that like a lot of people did, because
Man.
they were the main influencers of their kids.
Yes.
And I was like, man, that's really good. And then listening to like Myron Golden.
Yes.
If y'all don't know who Myron Golden is, man, just
Look him up.
Look him up on YouTube. Man, he's an amazing dude that we base our small group curriculum off of. So, you know, he talks about what he calls the I forgot what word he used, like the hypnotical something society, basically talking about schools, like how they try to reprogram your kids to be workers and not to be independent thinkers and all that kind of stuff. So, you know.
You mentioned that actually in the communication thing you sent a couple of days ago.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, man, just, you know, we don't, just knowing that there's an avenue to where we can avoid some of the hardship in those teenage years. It doesn't have to be,
bro,
like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's literally the reason why I think I want to do it. I've been talking to the wife about it. And we're trying to get our financial house in a place that we can take that challenge on.
Yeah.
Without, because it's going to require a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so we're trying to get things set up in such a place that we don't have to put as much time, energy, and effort into the work, and we can put it into the kids, while, you know, still dealing with this situation with the boys. But Naomi's young enough, you know, and the boys are still young enough that we have a nice avenue for it. But just in my own life, I think about where where things went left the most, and the reason for it. And really, it was the pressure of trying to get acceptance in high school, trying to fit in, trying to be cool enough because of what it was that I was seeing, hearing, and the reason that I was thinking those things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you can remove that element, I feel like you can still keep your kids engaged socially. You can have them doing any level of extracurricular activity so they still understand how to interact with people. Keep them plugged in at church, keep them going to gymnasium, whatever it is that you have going on outside, right? So that they don't lose that human element as they're growing up.
Yeah.
But that daily pressure, right? The daily pressure of every day I have to have this standard, especially in public schools where you don't have like uniforms, and now, oh, I like this person over here, but this person likes that person over there. So now I feel like I need to look like that person. It's just the internal stuff, you know what I'm saying, that they don't even really necessarily express, That's a lot of extra factors that go on, man, when it comes to teenagers and when it comes to kids, period. That if you can just remove some of that, you know what I'm saying? And school is where the majority of it happens, man, because they're there for 8 hours a day. So they get more time of dealing with those pressures of life than they do anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real, bro. So yeah, man, this is good. I think like our aim is to really, I want to be able to really address a lot of these like just real life issues.
Yes.
And then as we've been kind of growing in our journey, and just with, just doing life and with God and with each other, with wives and kids and in our professional lives, like finances, like we're going to be touching on all that kind of stuff. So the things that we've been learning, man, we're going to be giving you guys a lot of like materials and just resources. So as we growing, y'all grow with us, man, just in whatever field that you're in, wherever it is you are in your journey of life, bro. Like we here, man. So we here with you. Just trying to level up.
It's time to get busy.
Time to get busy. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing. We're getting busy. Listen, we got life is short, as they say. It's a gift. We don't want to waste it. We don't want to waste any more time. Wish we can go back in time and change things, but the reality is we can't do that. So with what we got left, man, we want to maximize what we're trying to do, and do what, live out what God, the purpose that God gave us. So we're going to be going through a lot of that stuff. And like, again, talking about a lot of what's going on in this world and, bouncing ideas and off each other and just trying to get through this thing and do it and live well. So,
and give us feedback also, comment, all that kind of stuff. We can tackle some of the issues and some of the topics that you present as well. But there's going to be a plethora of stuff that we're bringing to the table, tangibly and idealistically.
Those are big words, bro.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Like I should probably keep it a little more simple, huh? KISS.
It's late, man. You got to keep it simple for me, bro. I'm already tired. You know what I'm saying?
But nah, man, just, but realistically though, sometimes people need things in their hands to write down and practical application. And then they also need things to think about. We're going to try to provide all of that.
We are. Yo, thank you so much for joining us for episode one of 5,000. Hopefully we'll see. I don't know.
Hey, I like that.
Might be 1 of 5. Somewhere between 5 and 5,000 episodes. That's my promise to y'all. All right. So it's your boy B Jones.
Signing out, Izzy.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for being with us. Love y'all. Be easy.
Peace.
And get busy.
Get busy.
And got busy!